Welcome to the Adoption Lounge. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Katie. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to talk about, I was really excited to tell you about, I have the plane pull for Special Olympics on Saturday. And it's really, really cool. Illinois, actually, that's where the Special Olympics organization was founded.
Yeah.
And so we love to get involved every year and go out to O'Hare Airport and actually pull a 747. And there's a lot of teams.
That is so cool.
It's so cool. It reminds me a lot of gym class in junior high or high school when you would play tug of war like one day out of the year. You know, you'd be on like the blue and the red team. Giant, horrible rope. But it is kind of like that, except it's attached to a 747. So I'm not allowed to participate anymore. I have multiple sclerosis. And my husband very nicely asked if I would stop dragging the team down, basically.
Rude.
Stronger people from his bar, Rosie O'Hare, to help out. But we're all really excited. And we've raised about $3,000 for Special Olympics. Our team is Reese Lightning for my son, Reese.
I think that is such a cute name. Didn't you have somebody ask you, so how do you actually pull a plane?
We actually pull a plane, yes. Everyone's always like,
actually pull
we
the
actually
plane.
pull the real plane. We go to a secret location behind the airport, so we're not disrupting flights or anything, obviously.
Correct.
But it's a really fun event. They have food and vendors, and it's really cool.
I love it. She does it every year. And
We do.
Katie has a lot of passion for raising money, and she's good at it. People will listen to her.
I'm a cause person
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Foster dogs, Special Olympics, anything with multiple sclerosis.
If there's a good cause, Katie knows about it.
That's true. So the last couple of weeks, we've been talking to Lindsay, we talked to Kelly, and we talked about their adoption journeys. And during that time, they kind of touched on the fact that they had had some situations that didn't work out before they actually adopted.
Yeah, they went over their disruptions, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the emotional impact on it, how to navigate through it, because I know that's a big question. People that come into adoption know that disruptions are and could be a part of it. It may or may not be a part of your journey, but it's important to go into it with a little bit of information
Sure.
to know how to navigate it if it does happen and to be ready for that if it does. So
Absolutely. As ready as you can be.
yeah,
It's so hard because it's such an emotional journey and it's so important. You know, you've been wanting to grow your family probably longer than you've been on your adoption journey.
yes.
For a lot of people. So it can be extremely impactful when you feel like you're really close and then it doesn't work out.
Well, especially a lot of people that are doing adoption, not everybody, but some people have had a journey that led them here prior.
Exactly.
And so I think going into it, they're like, do I want to even
Put my heart out there.
do I even want to put myself out there to have something else not work out?
Sure.
There's so many emotions that go into it. I think when I've heard families talk about what they've experienced when navigating a disruption, I mean, there's anger, I'm sure. There's sadness.
And it's a hard space to sit in, I think, because most of our families, you know, even if they didn't know this out of the gate, have learned through the process that space is a very complicated one to sit in because it's absolutely her right to change her mind. We support that little family, obviously. We want her to be successful parenting. So it's hard to be faced with your own devastation while still being happy for this family that's going to remain intact.
Yeah, and I think there's confusion.
Sure.
Whether, anxiousness about like, is this going to work out? I mean, is this the last opportunity I'd ever get? I was chosen once. Will I be chosen again?
Yeah.
And
Do I have the heart to start this whole thing
do I
all
even
over
want
again?
to? Yeah. Should there be a certain amount of time that I take, in between?
Sure.
It's important to recognize how you're feeling, validate yourself and the birth mom's decision, but also validate how you're feeling. It's the best way to kind of maneuver through it. At least, I mean, I haven't been through it myself, but it seems to be the best method is to just understand how you're feeling.
Yeah.
To be able to move through it and prepare yourself if it was to happen again. Now you've gone through it. Now you know what it feels like, even though it could feel different each time.
Yeah. And like I said, you can feel happy for your expectant mom choosing to parent and still feel sad for yourself. And I think giving yourself the space to really self-care, I also think that looks different for everybody. I would almost equate it to anything in life, really. Holding grudges, moving on from anything that happens to you. I'm someone that is a very, very bounce back person. It's very difficult for me to sit in my feelings, which I should probably unpack in therapy. But I really feel like for me, I would probably want to get back out there immediately. But that's not right for all families. And there is no right answer. There's no right answer. There's no right way to do it. And so you have to really look within yourself, be honest with yourself about what you need so you can prioritize that so that when you're ready to put yourself out there again, which hopefully you will be, you can approach that without carrying all the baggage. Like you're so afraid to kind of throw your heart into the next situation because of what you're still carrying with you.
Kelly said something really great on the last episode with her, and she was saying that, you have a 100% chance of it not working out if you don't move forward, and that you are a different person. She had a disruption where she was close with the expectant mom.
She was there at the birth.
She was there at the birth. She eventually changed her mind, and she truly felt that it was meant to be a part of her story. She was meant, for whatever reason, was meant to navigate that with that birth mom, meet that baby, care for that baby for a few days.
Yes.
And I know that that's difficult to recognize, which is why I say confusion may be a really big emotion, because you're confused as to why this has to happen. And it won't always make sense until the end when you have your happy ending that you're like, oh, this is why I had to go through it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the moment, it's hard to recognize that. I will say for me, I'm a lot like you, where I think the best way, at least with adoption, what I've seen is it's sometimes easier for families to move forward by keep going.
Yeah.
Pumping the brakes, you can sometimes bring up emotions that you wouldn't have if you kept moving forward. And I know this is something that families really want. But there is and should always be the space for you to take the time that you need, depending on the disruption. Sometimes people do need a minute. I know Kelly took some time.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to take
stronger.
time.
I feel like when she was explaining what she and her husband really took the time to do with their extra, I think she only took a couple weeks, but for her, that was what she needed. And that's what he needed. And then they were ready to kind of, enter that arena again. And, I talked to one of our other families. I have been doing kind of a recap story. She was saying how they had, I want to say 4 disruptions, which is really high, honestly. But she had 4, and they felt like they didn't regret a single one because she learned something about herself each time. And she felt like you had mentioned or touched on earlier, she was meant to be part of that expectant mom's story. She still kept in touch with some of those expectant moms and, now just parents. And was able to kind of be a different person in their life than maybe what she thought she was going to when she first connected with them. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. You go in with an open heart, and it's just so hard with all the heartbreak to see that part, but I think it's just a really beautiful and messy part of adoption.
It is. And make sure that you're listening to yourself and talking with your partner if you're doing it with someone.
Yes.
There's ways to definitely cope, and there's ways to frame it. I feel like when you're going through it, how you look at things, and this is really anything in life, really. But when you're looking at it, instead of looking at it like something was taken away from me, this is a failure, look at it like this was an opportunity. I am now one step closer to finding the opportunity that is meant to be mine forever.
Yes.
And be thankful for what that offered you in that moment. Because even if you're a family who has navigated this process without any opportunity except
which is a different kind of difficult.
Right. It is. It's difficult. No way is easier than the other. So you have families that you're like, gosh, I wish I was one of those families. Why isn't it me that's being chosen? The other family is like, why do I have to be chosen by these expectant moms that aren't going to place? Why do I have to go through this heartbreak? It would be easier if maybe
the grass is always greener.
It is. So be thankful for what you've been given in this journey. Learn from it. I love that your family took something away from each one.
I thought that was such an interesting way to put it. I'd never heard anyone say it quite like that before, that she learned something about herself each time that she carried with her. And I'm like, wow, that is really profound.
Yeah. Get out of my head.
Never.
So one thing too is understanding that the choice is the birth mom. So if you've never navigated adoption, you're listening to this and you're like, when can she change her mind?
Yes.
She can change her mind. A birth mom is able to express, a change of heart at any point during the process up until the adoption is you've
Or
went through
delivery.
relinquishment or revocation.
Right. So federally, she cannot sign over her parental rights in any state until she has given birth. And then there's usually a waiting time before she can actually sign, which is 24 to 72 hours, depending on the state. And then sometimes it's final. And in some states, there's a short period of time called revocation where she can still change her mind. And that's pretty uncommon, but we want to support her through all that. And I think it's important to understand that that is her legal right. And that's just how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it can be rare, but it can happen. And I think aligning expectations to know that it can happen. But also, it's really important to find a company that allows her to make these
Yes.
decisions
Without
and
pressure.
yes, and go through the process at her own speed. Every expectant mom's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually, the companies that we work for, they actually created a birth mom bill of rights. And I used to even send it to some families. It's readily available to the families that we work with.
Yes.
To
I think
read
we've
over.
referred to it before because we're just such fans. And I've heard there are some local hospitals that even include it now in the literature that they're providing people, which I love, like steal all our stuff. It's
Right.
such good,
it all.
it's good ethical information. It should be available. And I love that we freely give it.
Well, the idea is the more people that use it, the more even if it's a birth mom not working with one of the companies that we work for, it's important that this information is just getting out there, because I think every expectant mom, birth mom, should know what her rights are throughout the process. So we brought it.
So we have it right here.
And we'll just kind of read through it. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is given to every birth mom that inquires about information.
Yeah.
So you want to read the first one, Katie? Take it away.
Yes. So as a potential birth mom or expectant mom working with us, you have the right to the following. You have the right to make an informed decision, free from influence, pressure, or judgment. And we're going to provide you with helpful information so you can make an educated decision about your future and, of course, the future of your child.
I love that. What a way to come out strong. You know?
Thank you.
You have the right to choose an adoptive family. Our goal is to help you find a wonderful family that is the perfect fit for your baby. You get to choose the family, ask them questions you may have, and even meet them in person if you would like to. Choosing a family is a decision that will never be made for you unless you ask us to. And I love that.
I do too. I want to briefly mention we've had families in the past get really frustrated when expectant moms would like to talk to other families. And I would like to say this is not something we're pushing them towards or encouraging them to do. But if they express that interest to us, we are absolutely happy to support them in that and put yourself in their shoes.
Well, I like to relate it to dating. I mean, truly. And I don't say that to make light of adoption and how heavy it is. But dating is also really important because you're essentially searching for somebody who you're going to spend your life with.
It's another permanent decision.
Yes. And could you imagine the first person you date coming into the dating world, you have to marry them?
Amanda is saying this as someone who is married to her high school sweetheart, though, for the record.
Listen,
when you know.
But some of us have to date around and really figure out who we are, what we want.
Sure.
Not everybody goes into it knowing that. And so I think it's so important for her, if she has the time to do so and if she has the capacity to open herself up to multiple people, to do that. And a family should never feel threatened by that or take it as a competition, because everything has to happen organically. She's either going to feel drawn to you and connect with you, or she's not. And that would not be any different had she not picked multiple families.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly. You have the right to choose what type of adoption plan you want. You have the choice of what type of plan best suits your wants and needs. And so this would be the open, semi-open, and closed adoption that we talked a lot about in previous episodes.
Yes.
And I think this is really important too. We explain the different kinds of adoption, and she might not be ready to make a decision quite yet, but we want to support her in kind of discovering what she feels like is going to be the right thing for her.
And usually, at least with us, with our company, I don't know, I can't speak to how other companies work, but the ones that we work for, when a birth mom comes and she does not know, she's undecided, even after, getting the information about what an open, semi-open,
very
and closed,
common. Very common.
She's not sure about how she's going to feel or what she really wants. Maybe they all kind of sound intriguing. And so what we do is we present her with families that are open to all three
Mm-hmm.
communication levels. So that way, when she's navigating the process, at any point, she can choose what's right for her, and the family would be open to whatever that is.
Exactly. She's not going to decide she wants something that family was not ready to freely be a part
Yes.
of.
That way, there's no pressure. We don't want to, present her with a family that may be open to only closed, and then she decides that she wants
Exactly.
open, and then it puts
Surprise.
everybody in an awkward position.
Exactly.
So you have the right to receive financial assistance. Financial support is available to you during your pregnancy and also after you place to help you get back on your feet again. So most states will allow for financial assistance to up to 6 weeks.
Mhm.
What this is called,
Postpartum.
yes, postpartum. This is called expectant mother support. At least that's what we call it. I
Yep.
think other companies call it.
Yeah, I
that
think
same
I think
thing.
it's pretty universally.
Yeah.
It's financial aid for the expectant mom while she is still pregnant, and then sometimes up to a few weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I've heard at the maximum postpartum. We just want to make sure that while she is pregnant, that she has everything that she needs. And this is
Yes.
something that a lot of them feel very strange receiving. They don't even realize they're allowed to receive this, and we want to make sure they understand they absolutely have the right to this assistance, and it would all be run through the attorney, paid directly to the bills that they require it for. So it's very regulated, but definitely needed.
Yeah, some states do have caps on the amount that's allowed.
Every state's so
varies from
different.
state to state. Some states don't allow it. So, the amount that you'll pay will be different, but it's important to be open to this and, letting her feel safe. A lot of them, need this assistance, especially after too, because so many expectant moms don't even have jobs that will pay them while they're off. Although
And
they
they're
have
still
the
recovering.
time,
They're still recovering from a
and
major.
they can't go back. Even though they don't have a baby to care for, they still have to care for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You have the right to counseling. You can receive counseling during your pregnancy and also after. We want you to get the help you need, not just financially, but emotionally as well. And this, of course, makes me think of On Your Feet Foundation, who I know I have talked about a lot, but I'm just such a big fan. I think it's really amazing to have this organization that really prioritizes birth parents. And so that is something we encourage all of our birth parents to participate in post-placement. We have our peer-based support group on Facebook that we obviously encourage them to join and be a part of. But I couldn't agree with this more. I think it's so important, and we fully support and encourage that as long as they are a willing participant.
Yeah. You have the right to review any and all legal documents associated with the adoption. Paperwork will be prepared, and you will have the right to review and keep copies of any documents prepared during your adoption process. It's pretty straightforward there.
Yep. I have no notes.
Right? I have no feedback.
You have the right to a birth plan and medical care of your choosing. Your medical decisions are decided between you and your doctor and will be based on what's best for your body and for your pregnancy.
I think that this may be one of my favorites because
I knew you were going to say this, especially after some of the experiences you've had.
is it like we're best friends?
It's almost like I know you, like.
It's almost like every experience I've experienced.
Yes.
So the reason I love this so much is because it's important for families to recognize that until an adoption is finalized, this is not your pregnancy, your baby, and she is free to make whatever decisions she wants up until that point. You don't have to agree to them. You don't have to have made the same decision or like it, but you do have to respect it. I tell my children this. You don't have to like what I say, but you do have to respect it, unfortunately, at least until you're 18, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and Kelly and Lindsay talked about this too, how it's so important to focus on the expectant mom while she is pregnant and make this about her and not about the baby. And so these are just not your decisions to make. Your job is to support her while she makes these decisions for herself.
And if she wants you to be a part of the decision making on certain things, then that's great. And that's a blessing. And that could happen. And it has happened.
Absolutely.
But it's important to respect that this is somebody who is dealing with a pregnancy. And until it is your child, it is not. And so.
Yeah. Just not your decisions to make.
Yes.
All right, babe. All you. Last, but definitely not least.
You have the right to change your mind at any point in the process up until the final paperwork is signed. It is always your choice and yours alone whether you want to choose adoption or not, and what agency you work with to do so. Even if you've already started the process, nothing is final until the paperwork is signed. I feel like I just said this.
Well, this is a great way to end the Birth Mom Bill of Rights, because this is exactly what we were talking about earlier with the disruption. It is her right to change her mind at any point. It doesn't matter what your feelings about that are.
Yes.
She doesn't need to justify that decision in any way. So we all need to respect it and understand that that's her legal right.
Well, and you never want to put, I mean, as bad as you want this to happen, as bad as you want to be a parent, this is still her choice. And she doesn't need to carry your disappointment with her in making this decision. She does not need to factor in your feelings in this, although she probably will, because they're human and people naturally care about people. But she needs to make the decision for her and what she thinks is best for her child. And she doesn't need to hold the weight on her shoulders of how it will affect you. So you need to make sure that you're letting her know that and feel that.
Yeah. That's so interesting that you said that. You just made me think of something I actually love to say, and it's moderately related. But I always say when families are saying that they feel guilty going into an initial relationship with an expectant mom, I've had a lot of families say, I feel bad that I'm taking her baby. And I'm always like, gosh, you really need to reframe that, in my opinion, because this is her choice to make, and putting what you've decided are probably her feelings onto her is also not a fair thing to do. I think it's okay to show her that you're excited. It's okay to be happy about it, because you are the bright spot in this probably for her. We hear that feedback from our birth moms and our expectant moms all the time.
All the time.
That they are so happy to be making someone else so happy. So it's nice to give that to her and not feel like it's your job to shield her from her own feelings. Like, those are her emotions to go through.
That is true. I actually had a family once that was thinking about walking away from a situation because they were so close with their expectant mom that they knew, because they were supporting each other. I mean, they were talking daily. The family said, I know that she is second guessing this decision, and I don't want our feelings to be a factor for this. If she decides to come back, then we'll be ready. And I said, you are making that decision for her, and you can't.
Exactly.
The best thing you can do for her, instead of walking away, because she will feel like, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't have shared those feelings with them.
Exactly.
She's not going to think of it from your point of view where you're thinking about her.
She's working through it. So let her do that. Support her regardless.
And just be open about, hey, we're okay with whatever. That's the best thing you can do. Instead of walking away, just say, I am okay with whatever you decide. I want to support you if you do adoption. I want to support you if you don't, because I care about you as a person outside of this. And if you decide to place with us, we'll be so honored. If you don't, we're so honored to have been a part of it. I think that will take the pressure away, because she's like, gosh, and it will show her what type of parents you will be, because that's the type of energy we want for our kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The way you support her is going to tell her a lot about what kind of parents you're going to be. And that is so vital.
So I know you've talked with families. I have too. We've all, kind of talked with families that have gone through disruptions. What are some tips that you would give? I know I have some which we're probably the same, because but what tips would you give? Like, if somebody was asking you, Katie, I'm going through this disruption, how do what do I do now?
Well, I think the most important thing to do first is to feel all your feelings. I know we talked about that in the beginning, but I really and truly mean that. Like, it's almost like when you get fired, or you have a loss in your family, or
go through a breakup.
You have to sit in that, be upset and be unreasonable, be irrational, go eat a bag of Oreos if you were me.
That is what Katie would do.
Really stress eater right here. So do that. Indulge yourself, pamper yourself. So I would say, feel your feelings, indulge yourself. It's okay. But maybe I would give myself, and I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I always give myself a time limit. Like, you can be a complete disaster until Sunday. and then we are gonna
great advice.
Get it together, because I feel like having an end date on it makes it a little bit less messy, makes you feel less guilty about letting yourself be that way, especially if you're usually a very regimented type A person, which I am only moderately, but I just think it makes me feel better to feel like I am allowing myself the space to do this, but then we are going to get it together.
No, I actually love that. I do that with my son. So in baseball, if he makes a mistake, he's very hard on himself. And not so much because he made a mistake and he cares about what people think about him making the mistake in baseball, because he thinks he has just lost the game for his team. He thinks he has let down his coaches, his teammates, and he'll get so upset. And I'm like, allow yourself 30 seconds longer if you're going through adoption. I get it. This is more serious. But I'm just saying, I always say, take 30 seconds, be mad at yourself, and then go back out there. And it's all about the next move. It's all about the next play. And I think that's great because what Katie's saying is take what time, whatever it is, whether it's a day, whether it's an hour, whether it's a week, take the time that you need and then focus on what you're going to take from this and take into your
What's
next.
my positive plan moving forward?
Well, how am I going to move
I've
forward?
done the self-indulgence, I've done the negativity. What's my positive plan? Do I want to go therapy? Do I want to find a peer-based support group? Do I want to talk to my adoptive parent coordinator?
Yep.
Oh, do I have a time limit on when I would like to get my adoption profile back out there?
Yes.
Let's come up with a plan.
Yes.
Because I feel like plans, I mean, best laid plans, right? But they always make everything seem more achievable.
Well, you know that you're working towards
It's a
something.
goal.
And I want to say too that trusting the professional, so kind of going off of what you just said,
Yeah.
by making a plan, reach out to the people that you've hired, basically, to be on your team, whether it's your case coordinator, your adoptive parent coordinator, your social worker, your attorney, whatever, whoever's there. Talk to them, trust them, figure out what the plan is moving forward and kind of stick to it and trust that everything's going to work out. I think it's so important.
They might have some success stories from other families that have gone through similar things that can make you feel better. They might have a book they can recommend. Sometimes I heard a family one time where they needed to, like, going through the disruption made them realize that they had been too focused almost on their adoption journey.
Yeah.
So they needed to do something for themselves. So they decided to sign up for a cooking class together. And I was like, that is so cute. Because
that's so cute.
It is so cute because it gives you something different, I think, to focus your brain energy on for a couple hours a week.
It does. And take the trip. So
take the vacation.
Right.
Yes.
Don't stop your life. One of the tips that I always give when a family was going through a disruption was to reach out, utilize, I don't know if every company has this, but your home study social worker might have people in your area that have gone through adoption. I know at our companies have referrals. We have families that have reached out to us that have used our services and said, hey, I want to be there to talk with families through whatever.
Yeah, like mentors.
Yes.
Really.
And I always say utilize that. Maximize having people that have gone through this process, maybe something even extremely similar to what you've gone through, and talk with them through it. Figure out what they did or what they would do different now in hindsight looking back, because right now you're in it. And there's so many times where families feel like it's something personal that's being done to them. They're the only ones going through this. You kind of feel like you're on an island by yourself.
Yeah, you need that peer-based support, that solidarity. I love that you said that because I really think people focus so much on family referrals before they decide what program to join.
Which is important too.
It is, but it didn't even occur to me to keep giving that information out. Like, that's such a good tip. I love that.
Yeah, it's really important, and families have really bonded, and sometimes I even find out that families on the referral list live so close to them, they get together.
Yeah, they're like all friends now. It's so cute.
It's so cute. So we have some questions that people have asked that kind of relate to disruption. So,
great.
How long do we wait before trying again? Is there this recommended time period that we should wait before putting ourselves back out there?
Oh gosh, that's so personal, isn't it? I feel I can't answer that for any individual family, but I'm happy to counsel you about it. It's just not my call.
I would tell a family that asks this to ask yourself that question. If there is no set time, so most
give it a couple of days at least, probably.
Right. And most companies aren't going to have a recommended time period, right? It's going to be situational. And I think that you need to ask yourself that question. Like Katie had said earlier, give yourself a certain amount of time. Say, you know what? Let's take the weekend, or why don't we take a trip? I've had families where they're like, we're going to get away from everything for the weekend. We're going to come back on Monday. we're going to get ourselves back out there.
Or at least have a conversation. We'll go out to dinner. We'll have a conversation, see where we're both feeling if it's a two-person family, and see where we go from there.
But I never want a family to feel that if they put themselves right back out there the moment after they find out about a disruption, that's wrong. And I don't want a family thinking that if they take time, that is wrong. So the recommended time is going to be personal based on the situation you just went through.
Yeah.
How long did you talk to her? Some people talk to an expectant mom maybe once, so they don't want to be held back at all. And then others, they've gone through a long period of getting to know her and they may need to take a little bit more time. So ask yourself and trust yourself.
This is going to be so cheesy. And I hate cheese in general.
Oh, I love a cheese ball.
I know you do. But I feel like you're not going to miss the right opportunity. I think sometimes people are afraid to take time for themselves because they're afraid they're going to miss out on certain presentations. But as an adopted kid, here's where the cheese comes in. As an adopted kid, those are obviously the people I was meant to be with.
Yeah.
And I know what my parents went through and the ups and downs and the pauses they had to take during their journey. So I feel like you're going to end up in the right place at the right time for the right expectant mom to see your profile regardless.
Absolutely.
So don't worry about that. Just focus on yourselves. Don't worry about what you think you're missing.
And also don't worry about, I know some companies have contracts of how much time. Don't worry about that either, because I know with our companies, we will work. Yes. I wish you could see Katie with her family too, because you'd be like, oh my gosh, you belong there. So she's right.
I love them so much. But I say that too because I worry sometimes when you say certain things that people think or feel a responsibility to be the perfect family.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, we owe it to this child we've adopted to be perfect.
No.
And it's like, we're so messy. Like,
no, they're just perfect for each other.
Yes, exactly.
I think that they really complement each other. And you can tell that they all, even her sister, Laura, they just all look like they belong together and they love each other. And it's important. So second question.
I'm ready.
Dun, dun, dun. Is it common to stay in contact with the expectant mother after disruption? I actually love this question.
I love this question.
I love this question. Thank you.
I mean,
for submitting the question.
I don't know if I would necessarily say it's common, but I also don't think it's uncommon as long as it's something that she is open to. So I think continuing to reach out to her to check on her is okay, unless she's expressly said that she doesn't want any additional contact. Everybody's different, and we will tell you, obviously, whatever she is told.
Of course.
Told us. But I definitely have families that are still in touch years later.
Oh, absolutely. If you're building a relationship with an expectant mom, I have families all the time that are in communication and they've went on and they've adopted. And
I think it's all about your intention. So you don't want to stay in touch with the intention of being around in case she changes her mind again.
And you don't want to be disrespectful.
Exactly.
If she's choosing to not communicate, you can't force that. But if naturally you guys just want to be there for each other, we've had expectant moms reach out. I know you talked about a story.
Yes. Oh, yes. Who reached out? Did I tell that story already? I can't remember.
Where she reached out and said, I just want you to know.
Yes, that I'm doing really well. My son and I are doing really well, and I just wanted to reach out to that, get back in touch with that family.
Did tell that story. That's Katie's favorite.
It is my favorite story. Because I got that email one day randomly out of nowhere, and I was just so touched by the idea that she had been thinking about this and wanted to talk to that family about how much they had impacted her life. And I like that story so much because it sometimes will feel maybe meaningless when you're going through it and you're like happy for her, but like you're just feeling such devastation and heartbreak. So it's so, I think, amazing to get that other side of it that you don't always get the privilege of seeing.
Yes, it's really special. So all in all, I would just say that I would say yes, but just make sure, again, I don't mean to sound respect boundaries, but also trust the professionals. So talk with whoever's providing services to you and just make sure what the birth mom is wanting, or ask her, hey, would you want to stay in contact? We really enjoyed getting to know you.
Sure.
Don't be afraid to ask her if you are still in communication in that moment. But there's nothing wrong with it. And honestly, I think I would encourage it because a lot of times expectant moms don't have a ton of support. So if she's found some support in you and you've impacted her in a way that she wants to continue communication, I would say go for it. That's beautiful.
Really shows her how pure your intentions were from the get-go. If you really care truly about her and her well-being, how lovely is that?
Yeah. Well, I hope this has helped people because I know that disruptions is probably one of the number one questions I get.
And fears going into the
Yeah.
process, for
And I think
sure.
it's continued conversations that I have even had when families are in their journey, you know?
Mhm.
So I hope this has helped. Any comments, feedback, any
Send
questions?
it. Drop a comment.
Drop it. Next week,
Yes.
we are going
So
to talk
excited.
to another one of our wonderful adoptive parents,
Yep.
Nicole.
She is going to be telling her story. She's an adoptive parent coordinator with Angel Adoption, and she is going to be telling her story about her adoption journey that her and her wife went through before she ever came to work for us.
Yeah, she actually did her adoption journey. She adopted with Lifelong, kind of like Lindsay. And her daughter, well, we'll let her tell her story.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you guys to meet
her daughter
her.
has the cutest name ever. I don't know if she'll share it or not, but it's super
Yeah.
cute. I'm excited to talk to her.
She's excited to do this. She actually has really wanted to come on here, so she's excited. We're excited to have her.
We talked about having her before, but unfortunately with the hurricane, it's been a little bit challenging. So next week we're finally on.
Yes, and if anyone's watching this and has gone through anything with that hurricane, I hope you guys are safe, and I'm excited that we get to talk again next week.
Yes, thank you so much. We will see you then.